Before we start this show, just a word from our sponsor, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest that pro wrestling has had to offer. Along with their awesome line of pro wrestling apparel, they do offer many services. In the world of wrestling, there are hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads. Don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. If you would like to discuss possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or whatever, drop them a line. Go to 20 by 20 Apparel. That's the number 20x, the number 20 apparel.com. Now, let's get to the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, fresh, goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. On Fresh is the Word, we like to deliver wisdom through great stories from the minds of bright creatives of pop culture. Through those stories, we like to dissect the journey of our guests and present actionable lessons and advice for our listeners, no matter what career or avenue of artistry they pursue. And this is episode 116. And on this episode, we have a friend to the show making his return. Detroit hip-hop artist, wrestling, MMA, boxing connoisseur, and proud Marine, Vstylez. And before we get into this interview with Vstylez, I want to give a shout out to Knox Money, Bang Belushi, and Foulmouth for the theme music for Fresh is the Word. And I also want to remind you how you can support the podcast. Go to freshisthepodcast.com and share any of the links or any of the episodes that you see on the website on any of your social media platforms. And also you can subscribe to Fresh is the Word pretty much anywhere where podcasts are streamed. And that includes Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher Radio, Mixcloud, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Podbean, and Radio Public. You can always email me at djkfresh@gmail.com if you have any questions or concerns or overall comments, or you want to just send me something. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at kfreshistheword and at Facebook at facebook.com/kfresh. And you can also follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter at Fresh is the Word, which with IZ as the is. Fresh is the word. And then on Instagram at Fresh is the Word Podcast, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast. All right, let's get on to the interview with Vstylez. All right, we're here with a familiar voice of the Fresh is the Word podcast.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hip-hop artist from Detroit, boxing, wrestling, and MMA aficionado, and proud Marine, Vstylez. What's good, brother?
What's good, Kelly? How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm great, man. It's great to have you back on the podcast.
Indeed. Long time no hear from, but I'm back.
Yeah. And you got a new album out now called Thornton Melon.
Thornton Melon. Yes, sir.
I just dive right into it, man. Like, what was your thoughts going into making this album?
You know, being on the Detroit hip-hop scene for, a while now, I've seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go. Being a senior, at the sport here, um, I know I'm still dope, and I know I'm still in the game, at least in my eyes. But you got a lot of young dudes that, they don't want to even give, I don't want to say necessarily the elders, but the cast that's been around. It's like they want us to just roll over, like, no, stop doing this. And I think that's corny, man. Hip hop has, and it's the only genre that does this. When you get a certain age, you're not, supposed to be rocking. It's like you see the Rolling Stones and you see, the Grateful Dead and all these other people out here still rocking and doing better shows than the younger dudes, but they still rocking. But when it comes to hip hop, it's like, oh no, you're not supposed to be doing that. So at least with me, it's fuck out of here. Until I can process things, and I'll know when it's time for me not to, do certain things, but that time ain't right now. So as far as the concept of Thornton Melon, the movie was about it's called Back to School. Rodney Dangerfield played this dude called Thornton Melon, and he was a high school dropout, but he managed to build a big and tall fat clothing service, which made him a millionaire. And his son was having problems in college, so he decided to try to motivate his kid by going back to school. And in the movie, one of the guys called him the oldest living freshman. So I feel like I'm the oldest living freshman, But if you remember the movie, Thornton Melon was not only the oldest freshman, but he was the livest student in the school. So how I look at it is, yep, I'm older, but I'm doper than you, and my music will speak for my music will speak for itself. So, I'm gonna continue to make dope music, and the crowd has been super receptive. So, I'm just gonna keep doing me. I'm happy, about the response that I've heard from, Thornton Melon. When you creating a project, man, you just don't know. And I took a minute to make sure that every song was powerful on its own level, and it held its own, because you only get one chance, man. And being an older dude, just imagine people be like, man, this whack. Nobody may not want to hear from me again. And now, it's like people like, what's next? And right. I love At Odds Till I'm Even. That's my baby. But with this record, especially when people talk about the sophomore jinx, I think I did okay.
You did all right.
Yeah,
I
think I did all right.
I think before we were rolling, you wanted to start. We were talking, and I think you want to go into sort of like this creative high you were talking about with your music. Kind of speak about your creativity.
In what regards?
I don't know. I felt like you were about to go into it. Like you're in this creative space these days.
I am, man. Look. I am the happiest I've ever been. As far as like, I've never been one of these. You'll never hear me. I'm not a me, or I told you so, or anything like that. I just like what I like, and everybody not go feel me. I do what I do. If you think of fucking hating, think of fuck you too. Ozone. I'm just from a creative perspective, I'm super happy. I'm open to doing different things. You know, I sang on this record. I did. Hey, my young. I sang on this record. I got melodic on different records. I got a LL Cool J like type record. These are all records that I've never had before, and but they felt good doing them.
Right, right.
And you know,
What kind of like brought you to this place where you could sort of be a little bit more freer on this record and experiment?
not being scared, not being scared. When I did roulette, Jr. hit me up. You know, me and Jr. been working together for a little bit. You know, he produced Orlando on at Aslam Eve, and we got a couple joints together. But he hit me up, and we're going to be doing a project together, and you know, it's going to be a little abstract. You go see a different side of me working with Jr. But Jr. called me. He had this, you know, track. He already had wrote the hook, and he said, "V, I want you to." The name of the song is Roulette, and it's basically about betting on yourself. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, give me a minute and let me sit with it, and then I'll, you know, come up with something. I wrote my rhyme, and then I spit it all in rhyme form, like da 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 da, you know, just rapper. So when he heard it, he's like, yeah, I like the lyrics, man, but I kind of want something different. And I was like, well, what you want? He was like, man, he said, man, you be on that Neil Diamond shit, man. Give me some melodic, like give me a little. So, you know, he coached me a little. And as an artist, like you gotta be egoless when you know, you can't have no ego when you working with producers. You know, you got people
Right.
that make beats, but then you got producers.
Yeah, yeah.
This dude he's a producer, and he's the one that was like, for the first 9 bars, I want you to be, you know, just kind of, you know, kind of sing a little bit. He said that after the 9th bar, just go back into rhyme form,
Right.
and it just worked out, man. And I sat on that record. I didn't even know if I was gonna put that record on the album, and then in the 9th inning, Jeff was like, "Yo, V, what you gonna do with that song Roulette?" I was like, "You think I should put it on the album?" He was like, "Fuck yeah, you should put it on the album." I mean, and it's because like you got so much stuff, you want to make sure everything fits, and it, you know, because I always can make another one. But Jeff was, you know, he was adamant, like, dude, that's on the album. So then I hit Gov up. I was like, dog, what you think about that record Roulette that I got? He was like, that's on the album, ain't it? I said, well, I'm just contemplating. He was like, dog, that's a single. You put that on the album. So, and I don't make records for the, you know, intention for them to be singles. I make records, you know, in regards to how it makes me feel.
Right, right,
And
right.
if it turns out to be that way, then that's even dope.
Cool,
You know,
yeah.
it's even dope, more doper. So, you know, I'm glad I put the record on there because it's my daughter's favorite song. Um, you know, she loves Roulette, and she likes Mom and Pops. Mom and
Nice.
Pops is my favorite record on the album.
Now that you're already, you know, talking about Roulette, let's break down all the songs on the record and talk a little bit about each of them.
Okay.
Let's start with Ozone. You know, what's the story behind that?
When I heard the beat, I was going through Nottz Instagram, and I heard a joint. I was like, dog, you got, dude, I need that. So he wound up getting me the record, and you know, I'm a fan of, like, in my music, you can hear if you listen closely enough, you could tell who I've listened to a lot. That's like my Busta Rhymes record. You know, animated, uh, kind of woo-highs, in my
Right.
own type of way. But I knew opening the album that I needed to have a record that was gonna kind of like grab people's attention. You know,
Right.
it's my son's favorite record. I was online today, and my line manager, I walked in, and she was like, "Yo, oh," she was like, "I'm in my motherfucking zone." I was like, and it freaked me out. I was like, "Wow." I said, "So you listen?" She was like, "I listened to it on my way to work this morning." She said, "I couldn't wait to see you."
Right.
It
Nice.
was since last week, though, my days have been like that. There's always something positive, great feedback. But Ozone is kind of like, you remember when Buster put on Everybody Rise?
Right.
That's my attention grabber. I'm grabbing your attention right now because I want you to stay with me.
Yeah.
So that's what Ozone is kind. And, I'm in my zone. Orlando zone. That's Ozone. Shout out to my man OC too, man, because I contemplated not even doing Ozone because he did the Ozone and I love that record.
Oh yeah.
Love when I say I love that record. So I thought about changing the name and all that, but it's Orlando Zone, but just O for short. Ozone.
Right.
Shout out to him.
Now talk about Memoirs of a Daywalker. That's a funny name.
Look,
That's a funny name, and, and
we
know why.
Look, you kind of know that a little bit. You know the story. Everybody know I rock with my man King Mo. That's my brother. He's a light heavyweight, money weight in Bellator MMA. And since the first day I met him, we become friends, man. 2009, 2010. I've been a day walker. Like literally, he's always called me that. And we joke all day. And, it was one of them things was where, I say, you know what? I'm going to write a song about just my everyday issues, of things that I'm going through, went through, or maybe trying to give a little knowledge here and there. And I'm a day walker, so it's just a story about everyday struggles and triumphs and just things that you go through. So I'm a day walker, so I'm just giving you, a little bit of me.
Word.
For real. And I call it that because, that's what my man King Mo calls me. That's why he opens up the record.
Right.
It's always some light skinned shit. Fuck you, Mo.
All right, talk about Detropolis.
Yo. So, I've known Pete Rock for a minute now, and had a show with him in Slum Village in it was in Pontiac. The Crowfoot.
Yeah, Crowfoot.
And like I met him before, but like when I met him this time, it was like he knew who I was, and automatically that freaked me out because it's Pete Rock.
Right.
And he like, man, I got your album, and we talking, and I said, man, well, we need to work, man. It took a minute, but I flew out to New York. I booked some time at DITC Studios, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had no clue on what I was gonna do. It just was a moment for me.
Right. How's that? Oh man. DITC Studios, man.
Easily one of the greatest experience from an artist, from a hip hop perspective, from a stories, something that I can think about and
Yeah, there's a picture up here
just
in your living
smile
room.
about. You know what I'm saying? Very dope, man. I flew in, got an Airbnb, um, chilled out there overnight, and the next morning, me and OC hooked up, and we went to eat. He took me by his crib. Like he made, like O made sure that for that whole day that whatever I needed, I had,
Word,
and it
word.
was just some of the realest. It was some French shit, and we wind up going to DITC Studios later on the night. That night, Pete showed up. I go upstairs. As soon as I walk in, I'm looking and I'm automatically in awe. Like, this is the shit I've seen on the internet, and So then, who walks out of the room? Showbiz,
Ooh.
and I'm looking at Showbiz like this motherfucking Showbiz,
Right.
and this is Showbiz. I'm looking at all the plaques on the wall, man. I'm looking Jay-Z plaques. I mean, I'm talking about like it's plaques galore, and I'm in heaven, and I still didn't know what I was gonna do. I knew what beat I had,
Right.
but I didn't know exactly what I was gonna do. So they started tracking the beat out. I had already had a verse wrote. The first verse, no, the second verse. The second verse was wrote, but I knew I dedicated, to this, for Detroit. When he did the breakdown for the first part of the song, that's when I start, coming up with the first couple of bars for, it's real when I rap, little homie, and it just flowed, man. It just, like, from a creative perspective, from an artist perspective, to be in the room with
There's like a certain energy.
dude is one of the. I'm blessed. I've been in the lab with some dope people, man. Me and Bumpy, we got an EP that we did a couple years ago. We gonna update it, but me and him spent the whole night in the studio, and I was giving him some dope shit in my eyes, and he was like, "Nah, I don't like that V." So just imagine, you not being prepared. Like, as your duty as an MC is to always be prepared, and you better have the ability to be on site. And if you need a verse, that's your job to give that verse, and you have to do that if you love this craft, man. So that happened in New York. The weird thing is, I just didn't think that I would go all the way to New York to write a song about Detroit. That's crazy. But after the end of the record, the only thing that was missing, I was like, "Yo, Pete, I ain't come all the way out here for you not to give me no ad libs." I said, "I need all that on my record." I said, "Everything that I need the woo. I need all that." So he went in and he did his part, and that's how Detropolis was, man. And look, and after we recorded it and got it kind of like dummied out a little bit to where it sound good, leveled out for just to drive around, man, we listened to that joint about 15 times while we was drinking Hennessy and doing some other things. And it was just I didn't sleep that entire night. Pete wanted to, at 2:00, he wanted to go celebrate and go eat some seafood. And I'm always game for seafood. But I was like, dog, I can't leave, man. My flight leaves at 6. And I know by the time we finish, I gotta go back to the spot, grab my stuff. I was like, man, we gonna have to catch up, man. But that's yeah. Pete a good dude, man. He treated me like a brother, So, I still I cherish that day. That's why that I blew that big ass picture up and put it on my wall. So yeah, that's like all these pictures. They mean something.
Right,
What I'm saying? So that's specifically why that one is in the middle, because you see me cheesing up there. Well, I mean, that's my cheese. But
that's your cheese. That's like a black dynamite cheese.
Exactly. But that was a great. This was a
Smile. I am smiling.
Yeah, exactly. On the inside. Inside, I'm smiling. But yeah, that's super dope moment, man. I always cherish that.
All right, talk about consistent.
You know what? Now, that's a joint that I've been sitting on that beat. Like, I got a zillion Moss beats. Like, Moss send me files all the time, man. So I can always go and open up a folder and grab some Moss joints. That's my guy, man. In fact, we're gonna do a project. I promise. We gonna talk about this later, but in 2019, I'm gonna be a little bit more active. But that's a beat that I always liked, and I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna do to this record. And then one day I was listening to it. I was like, this shit kind of sexy. I can, I could talk to a woman,
Word.
on this record, but I couldn't. It couldn't just be a typical, rap song about a chick, man. I had different experiences throughout my life with, different women that, you can sit and write about, and to say, hey, I was a young cat when I was doing this, and
Right.
Now I'm better.
Right.
And the weird thing is, I wrote my verses, and I had my man Dion from the group 7 Mile. I knew I wanted somebody that was real dope to sing on it. And I got him to come to the lab, and he had the track for a minute, but he didn't write a hook for it. So once again in the ninth inning, I'm sitting here listening. I wrote all of that, like literally. I wrote that hook.
Dope.
And once I wrote it, and I was like, dude, I need you to do this, and this is how I want you to harmonize it. And then when he went in, he nailed it.
Word.
When I say he nailed it, I mean he knocked it out the park. So for me, I wrote a hook on my last album, the Last One's Out record.
Right.
The female, that's his sister, Chrissy. Their whole family is singers. That's Chrissy is her and Gov used to be in a relationship. They got kids together, man. So I know the whole family. And Dion is just, man. But when I listened to that, I said, wow, for me, it's such the opposite of the stuff that I would normally do. And I was hoping that, I'm like, I got to get people something different, and then I know women would love this record.
Right.
It's a sexy joint. And then when I let Moss hear it, he was like, man, you know how to pick shit. I was like, yeah.
Right.
That's a part of it, man. That's
Hell
it.
yeah.
So that's how consistent happened. I can fucking write an R&B record.
Hell yeah.
That's my LL Cool J record, man, for real. Love that shit.
All right, talk about Phenomenon.
Oh man, look. this how this record happened. Okay, one of the worst days of my life was when my grandmother, she had went in the hospital and almost died, and it was a bad just a bad day. M.O.P. was coming to town at Club Blue, and I met them a couple years back at the collection party with Bumpy Knuckles and DJ Premier. They had an album release party, and I was on stage with them when they was rocking out My Type of Nigga with Heather B and Annie Up. Like, it was just one of them affairs. And we talked there, and when they came to the D, Bump had told them, like, look, when y'all go to the D, make sure y'all go, link up with my man V. So when I got there, I was drunk as fuck, dude. I'm talking about, it was just a bad day. I'm talking
Word.
about, I had a couple pints of Hennessy. I don't miss Hennessy at all no more, man. I'm glad I changed my diet and all that. But got there, and I got there early. They weren't there, so I left and came back. And they took me upstairs, and, I went from drinking Hennessy to, they had a big-ass bottle of Patron and Fame, poured a whole bunch of Patron in my cup. So I already was fucked up with the Henny. I took a whole bunch of shit from, because I didn't care at that moment,
Right.
And we just chopping it up, and I brought them some music, and, I gave them my At Our Slum Even album, and we was on stage. I can remember, this how fucked up I was. I was on stage with them, and I was so drunk, I forget what song they was rocking, but I just walked out. And I walked all the way home, left my car where it was parked. I lived downtown at the time, so I left my car where it was parked, and I walked home. And I woke up in the morning because I had to go to work, and I ran outside looking for my car thinking it was stolen. And then I had to remember, like, damn, that's where my ride is at, man. So needless to say, I was late for work. Yeah, that was a fucked up day, but I remember having a good time with them, and Billy had told me, he was like, man, we gonna listen to this when we on the road. About 2 weeks that went past, I got a text from Billy, like, yo, your shit is dope, man.
Word.
He was like, man, we go right. He said, we gonna be home in about a week. Send us something. So I hit Nottz up. I was like, yo, I'm about to do a joint with M.O.P. Send me some music. So Nottz sent me a couple records, and I was like, nah, dog. I was like, I love you. I was like, and everything you sent me was dope, but I need my wolves.
Yeah.
I was like, I said, I don't want wolves, but I want my wolves. And he was like, bet. And that's when he sent that record. So when I heard it, I was like, that's exactly what the fuck I want.
Because, of course, Nottz makes like 900 beats a day, so...
Nottz got files from 1999 all the way into 2018. I'm talking about he got files and files. Him and Dilla, man, they some different dudes, man.
Right.
He got a whole bunch of shit, man. But he sent me that, and automatically I was salivating because M.O.P. As a person that love hip hop music, man, I listen to Slum, a lot of Dilla, Slum, same to me, they're same family. Busta, Leaders of the New School, M.O.P, Bumpy Knuckles, Redman, like. That's my everyday fucking soundtrack.
Right.
For everything. So automatically you should know I know all their songs, I know all their records like they're my fucking records. So to have a record or potentially have a record with them, it's like I can't fuck this up.
Right.
I can't fuck this up, man. So I wrote a couple verses, and then the last verse that you hear is what you hear at the start of the record. And when I listened to it over and over, I was like, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I wrote the hook, and I sent Fame and Billy that shit at the same time. And I think it may have took them a week or so, but they sent me their verses back, and then Fame added on to the hook without me even asking for it.
Word.
And I was like, damn, man. So I'm just going to mesh our voices together. So when you hear the hook, you'll hear him, you'll get back. So for me to fucking have not only a record produced by Grammy Award winning, you talk about GOATs, when you talk about producers, if you're not naming Nottz on your list, then something is wrong with your list. Nottz is, I don't think he's human. He's a different dude, man. Super dope, man. But not only to have a record by that guy, but to have M.O.P on the record, knowing that they had a relationship with this dude from, like, this is my wolves.
Right.
So to have a record of this magnitude, I already knew. And then, like, when I got their verses back, first thing I said was, I could hear this shit on their album.
Right.
So what confirmed that for me was when I went to, I know we gonna get to this record eventually, but when I went to go see Apollo Brown for Mom and Pops, we were playing albums for each other. He was playing me the Joel Ortiz album that he created.
Yeah.
And I was
Great
playing,
album.
Yeah, and we were ping ponging off each other. Boom, boom, boom. And it wasn't no let off. And this is before both of our joints dropped. So I think he had a couple singles out, the joint with Royce and another song, but the album wasn't out. So to be sharing my work with him, and then we get to the M.O.P record, he says, "Fee, that's some shit I hear on their album."
Yeah.
And I said, deja fucking vu.
That's what I thought.
Deja vu. So, yeah, those are my guys, man. Again, I'm super blessed, man, to have some super friends.
Hell yeah.
And it don't even be about music, man. Music's the easy part. It's about people want to be around dope energy. You don't want to be around no motherfucker that's just gonna bring you down, man. You want to be around people that's gonna help you grow, man. Just keep that in mind when you fucking with people.
Yeah, that's the underlying story about why I want to go track for track on this album is that there's that underlying story where it's like the music is the easiest thing.
Yeah, that ain't shit.
And that's the lesson that's learned by, talking about each one of these tracks is that there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that, and when the record deals go away, the investors go away, can you still make that same music that you were making?
I can look. If people ask me, that's like one of the big questions. Like, man, how are you doing that from? Remember, well, you don't know what I am. First off,
right.
It happened. It's not going to happen for everybody. It works for me. My shit is authentic. Ain't no angles. When people call me asking me how's my family and, we talk about everything but music.
Yeah.
That's when it's fucking real. And I can say that it don't be about the music until it's time to do something,
Right.
And they can call and be like, yo, man, can you, man, I need this for this. Okay, cool. Crook is a super example. Every time I've hit him up, he'll say, man, when you need it back. If I say, man, get it to me in about 2 weeks, he'll make sure I have it on the day that it's supposed to be turned in.
Yeah.
That's real shit. You can't buy shit like that. Bumper's the same way. Bumper gets something, and he'll send it right back to you.
Right, right.
Because he be geeked, And then, like, that's something that we laugh about, and we keep it moving because it ain't just the music.
Right.
And
even last week when we were all at Aztec and Foul Mouse record release party, for Lion King, and I walked back
fucking Apollo.
I walk back and there's just a whole group of the who's who of Detroit hip hop arguing about boxing.
Oh yeah,
we're just
because it don't look. Me and Ty. Shout out to Ty Ferris, man. That's my guy.
Ty Ferris is there. Finale, Apollo Brown,
Fat Father. Yeah, it was. But see, that's how it always be, though.
Right.
It don't be about the music. I mean, yeah, we feel how we feel about our stuff, but we're supposed to feel that way, man. But we've been around each other too long to be on some old front and stuff, man. I ain't never been that person anyway, man. I don't like that type stuff, man. It turns me the fuck off. I'll move to the left in a heartbeat.
Right.
For real. I care about the energy. Fat Father, one of my favorite persons. Not only is he a dope MC, he's a hell of a dad.
Yeah, the father in his name, Fat Father, is real.
It's the realest thing on the planet. So I care about the character of the people that I'm around, man. That means so much.
Right, right. Let's talk about the next joint, O. Ellis.
Okay. Now, how O. Ellis happened was my father was like, you Vstylez, why you ain't never use your name? Your name is Orlando Ellis VC. So I was like, yeah, I never thought about that. He was like, O. Ellis, that would be cool, O. Ellis. I was like, O. Ellis. I was like, that's dope, Daddy.
Right.
That's dope. And then I was talking to Bump one day, and I was like, I said, man, I'm thinking about switching. I said, I'm always going to be Vstylez, man, but I'm thinking about switching, using another moniker. I ain't never did this before. He said, well, what? I was like, man, my dad called me O. Ellis. He said, well, what's that? I was like, man, my name is Orlando Ellis VC. And he was like, dog, that's dope. And it came from your dad.
Right.
He was like, you could talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how O. Ellis was birthed. So the first record that I recorded with Nottz was O. Ellis. So it's more like an introduction of me. I just wanted to talk shit a little bit on the record and say I'm O. Ellis.
Right, right.
No more, no less, man. Over some dope ass Nottz production.
Right, right.
So that's what that was all about. Simplistic, at least in my eyes. I mean, I like my bars, but it was nothing over the top. It was just O. Ellis. So many layers of V.
Right, right.
It's a lot of layers. So. Yeah, it's just a little record about myself, man. A little braggadocious record. Nothing special.
Right. We already talked about roulette, so let's get on to respect.
Oh, man, look. So, I've been working with Gov since 99, 98, 99, something like that. And I'll say this again. I don't really care who you are. Whether it's from the city, whether it's out of state, different country or whatever. If there's one person that I can call that know know what I want when I say it. Like,
Right.
I don't have to tell Gov what kind of tracks to make me because he know what makes me like. I got this shit that I call the cringe face when you hear a beat, you like,
Oh yeah, we all know that.
you know, Gov know the type of beats that's gonna make my face do that, and when my face do that, I want it, So I was like, dog, I'm about to work on Thornton Melon, man. I need a record, and this was around the time that Bump and Crooked Eye was here to shoot the video for Rough, Rugged, and Raw. So you talking 2015, 14,
Right.
something like that. And he, he was like, V, I got this record for you, man. I said, well, play it. He said, I can't play it over the phone. My internet messed up. He said, you got to come over here. So I drove from downtown all the way to the west side, and he hit play, and I heard that dun 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 dun. I was like, ooh, ooh, and I said, wow. I didn't know what I was gonna do with the record as far as writing to it, what I was gonna say, but I just wanted to sit with it. And I sat with it for a while because I can remember being in the car at the video shoot and I'm listening to beats, and Crook heard it and he was like, dog, I want that. And I was like, nah, that's mine. That's mine. He said, and we laughed about it. I was like, you can get on it. You can get on it.
You can get on it.
Yeah, but it didn't, I never hit him with that because I had something else in store for him.
Right.
So I come up with my verse, and I was like, that shit hard. So I've always been a fan of Skyzoo. I love listening to people that, people may not be aware of, just like you. And then when people get up on them, you like, man, you need to catch up. You 4 albums behind.
Right.
And that's how I am with Skyzoo. He has a phenomenal catalog, in my opinion. He's worked with a lot of he's like me. He don't work with a lot of dudes, man, but, he get his props, but people don't give him the props that I feel like he deserves.
Right. Definitely.
Sky is one of the coldest, so I only want to be around people that when I hear them, I know they're great. And, I hit him up. I was like, dude, can we link? Can we da-da-da-da-da? So we wind up chatting it up, and, I sent him a record, and he liked the record. And he sent me the verse back. And that was the beginning of our relationship. And, I talked to him the day earlier. I was like, dog, you hear the album? He was like, man, send me a link. So I was like, man, I'll send you a WeTransfer. I mean, you ain't gotta. He's like, no, send me the Apple link. So I was like, okay, well, you bad or streaming, it don't make a difference, but I want you to hear it. So he gonna give me some feedback on it. But that's my guy. He's turning, he's turning one of my brothers, man.
Right.
And that's the dope part about when you create stuff, man. It could possibly open other avenues up, man. I care about the energy. If the energy ain't right, why should I work with you?
Right.
It's a lot of dope people with bold ass energy. I don't need that.
Nah.
Give me the dope person that, you wouldn't even think that they was a rhymer. Or,
Yeah.
Like I don't tell people I rap.
Right.
When they find out about it, they pleasantly surprised. But I don't be like, man, because most motherfuckers is doing that, they ain't really doing shit.
Right.
So when you find out and you like, man, why you didn't? I was like, because this is how I wanted it. Look at this motherfucker.
Cat just chilling.
But yeah, that's what that was all about, man. So Shout out to Sky Zoo. He's on tour right now. Dope MC. Uh, I think the last project he put out was the Apollo Brown joint. Before then was the Peddler's theme. Like he got records, man.
Yeah, he does got records.
Music for My Friends. Like Music for My Friends is probably my favorite Sky Zoo project. But he has a lot of dope stuff. Shout out to Brooklyn. But super dope MC.
Right. Let's talk about Triple Lindy.
Okay. That record.
Yeah.
Okay. Moss, I told Moss what I wanted to do when I went to go see him in Toronto. And he sent me, 3 different records. So I'm like, dog, I said, I asked the record, I told you what my concept was. He was like, they're all sampled from the same record. I just flipped it 3 different ways.
Word.
So I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He was like, yeah. So I listened to all of them. I ain't gonna front. I listened to all of them. And the one I'm on made my face gave me the cringe face. I was like, this is mine. And then I was like, I listened to the other 2. I didn't know if it was gonna be a solo record initially, or if it was gonna be, a record where I got some dope people on there. And it turned out to be the latter because I reached out to Catchphrase, who, stopped rhyming, and he should have never stopped rhyming because he's one of the dopest dudes from here. But I always wanted to work with him, and we cool because of wrestling. Because of, other interests.
Right.
That don't have shit to do with music.
Right.
Music is the easy part. So I hit him up like, dude, man, I would love for you to, get on this record called the Triple Lindy. I said, it's one of the more important records for my project. I said, man, initially I didn't even think about doing a Triple Lindy record, but I had so many people ask me if I was going to do this record, I felt like I was kind of obligated to do the record. So,
yeah, if you're going to do an album called Thornton Melon, you have to have something called...
Made sense. So he did it, and he met me at the studio. And the thing was, for me, I didn't want nobody to hear nobody's parts until it was ready.
Yeah.
So Catch did his part, and he was like, ooh, So I didn't do my part in front of him.
Right.
But when I listened to his verse, I said he has to go first because he sounds so hungry.
Right.
Like he ain't been on the mic in a minute. I didn't know what I was going to do, I have the super utmost respect for Finale. I would never say, man, go for like Finale he is who he is. I asked him, to rock with me, and our energy, that was long overdue because we had been talking years about doing something together, man. But I gotten to know him outside the music, which made the shit easy, you know?
Me and him used to be roommates a long time ago, so yeah, I already know.
Super good dude. So he sent me his verse, but he hadn't heard what Cat's done.
Yeah.
Because I send them their records individually, so nobody would know.
Right.
So after I did my verse, I put everything together, and I had them both come over to the studio, and they all heard it, together.
Yeah.
One of the dopest feelings.
Right.
One of the dopest, because it's like, Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and I was happy with it because it came out doper than even I could have imagined.
Right,
You
right.
know, I went last because I like my verse. I just wanted to talk a little shit. You know, then I felt like the whole dive team thing that was kind of like cool because it's shouting out the other side, Mo.
Right.
Um, yeah, man, I'm glad I did that record. I'm glad that real fans and friends was on my head about doing that record because I don't think without that it could have been something different.
Right.
You know, for real.
I just talk about Return of the Kraken.
Word. Okay.
Word.
So with Return of the Kraken, I wanted, you know, I don't know if people familiar with my catalog, but I put out a record and a video called Clash of the Titans with Royster 5'9", Elzai, rapper Big Pooh, and Fat Cat, produced by my man Moss, probably around 2009, 2010. I always wondered, another question that I get from people that I don't like, but I mean not like that I don't know. Um, it'd be just the weirdest shit. Like, are you gonna do a Clash of the Titans Part 2? I don't know, man. People thought that big of the record to where they would ask me for another one. So, um, when it was time to, in my mind, like, man, I didn't know what I was gonna do or
Right.
what I was gonna get, but I said, man, I'm gonna do a Clash of the Titans Part 2. I'm gonna call it Return of the Kraken. So I put it in the air. So when I got the beat from Moss, I'm like, okay, who am I gonna get first? I didn't really know Kool G rap like that, but DJ Butter put me in contact with him, and we got real cool. And I talked to him. We talk on the phone, like even before we start, the music. And I can remember initially he sent me a bad file, and he was like, "Baby boy, I got you, man. I know this is important." And you know, he was the first dude to send me his verse back because the order go like the reason the order is the way that it is because who sent me their verses,
Right.
verse, second, third, fourth. I didn't even know that I was gonna go last, or if I even deserved to go last, just on the magnitude of the people that was on the record. Like, how do I go last with these dudes? But then I had to sit and think.
It's your record.
It's my fucking record.
It's your record.
And that ain't no knock to them, but I think I'm pretty dope too. I know I'm not them, and all praise is due to them. They're part of who I am, but I don't know if this is the last record I ever make. So
Right,
for
right.
real, because you can't take life for granted. So if it is, I'm gonna see what it feel like to be last on the record with these cats.
Right.
So that's how that worked out. With OC, it was like, I'm I'm about to do Clash of the Titans Part 2. I call it Return of the Kraken. I need a verse. Send me the track, V. I knew that was coming because it's never not come when I talked to with Masta Ace. It took a minute. He communicates a little different, but super cool dude.
Right.
I can't say nothing bad about, like, I'm already a fan, and I'm always in awe of people that I revere. Um, certain certain people become a part of you,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is. You feel like you know them because of the music, and Ace is definitely a part of, he a part of of my makeup. So why wouldn't I want Masta Ace on the record? With
Hell
me?
yeah, hell yeah.
And then with Crook, it was like, Crook, I know you wanted to be on this other joint, man, but I got a record with me, you, Masta Ace, OC, and Kool G Rap. He's like, when you need it back? I was like, a week or two. He's like, I have it back to you in 2 weeks. On the 14th day, Saturday morning, about 6:04, Saturday morning, I woke up. My email went off. Crooked Eyes, bro. Him and Masta Ace send their verses on the same day, like an hour apart. True story. And that's how Return of the Kraken was made. And I don't know how I pulled that shit off.
Right. Incredible
like
record, though.
Just like I don't know how I pulled off Clash of the Titans. I just think good energy bring other good energy, and things happen the way that they were supposed to happen.
Now onto the final record of the album, Mom and Pops.
Mm-hmm. That record is like, for me. I was done recording until Apollo Brown called me, and we were talking about a few things, and I told him, I said, man, just saying it just to see what would happen. It's like, man, you didn't give me nothing, for this record. He's like, man, come over to the crib. So I went over to the crib, and like, Apollo is a dope dude, man. He got his niche, and it worked for him.
Oh, definitely.
People can say whatever they want. He found his niche. I'm happy for him. Everybody don't get that opportunity to do what he's doing. So, I'm happy for him. But he says, I want you to hear this, man. This is for you right here. So, man, he cut that track on, and immediately I was like, dog, I'm writing this song about my mother and father. Right. I was like, it's an emotional type joint. And I'm listening. I said, yeah, I'm writing this joint about my mother and father. So I left out, and I had the track, and I was like, wow, this is going to be dope. So, I had to sit back and think what I was going to say about my mom and my dad. And the rule of thumb today is you write 2 verses, instead of 3. I'm okay with that because it just made sense. It's in and out, but it's my favorite record because they're on the record, and they didn't know that I was recording them. It's just like you.
What did they say when they heard it?
One of the best moments for me ever. Like, especially like, I let them hear it individually and let them hear it together.
Right.
That was the day we had the exhibit, the Denmark Visa exhibit down at the African American Museum, and I played it in my dad's truck, and to see the look on his face, like he was just like the proud look, like. And my dad is like a real fan, so
right.
You can't pull nothing over him. My mom sat back and she listened to it, and I seen her smile, and she said, "Let me hear that again." And she listened to it again. I was like, "You good with it?" She was like, "Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all." That's okay, And as far as the hook, initially I was gonna have a singer on there, and it's gonna be that person writing whatever they're gonna write. I got into this creative mode to where I said, man, I think I'm gonna try to sing on this record, man. Just, yeah, I'm like people know I'm not a singer, man, but I like to sing.
Right, right.
And with it being a personal record, I just wanted to sing for my mother and father.
Why
man.
not? Yeah.
Yeah, so easily my favorite song. As far as the sound bites, I did the sound bites just before I had the show at SOBs with Bumpy. And my dad is asking me questions about my new neighborhood, cracking jokes about, me having a Michael Jackson jacket, when I was a kid. My mom asking me about what I'm wearing on stage and basically calling me a bitch a couple times. And that's light. That's super light. Like my mom is gutter, man. She hardcore, man, and that's just the lightweight version, man. But I love it, man, and I'm happy that people are receptive over it. And I'm actually trying to convince my mother to let me do a video for her. So I'm gonna shoot a video for Roulette, and I'm trying to shoot one for Mom and Pops as well.
Word. Yeah, and like I said earlier, the reason why I wanted to go through like the whole album, song by song, was that like there was these, regular themes about your relationships with people, and about that it's like the music is the easy part of it all.
Man.
That it's these personal relationships you've been able to craft that's really the thread of this
All of
album. Of both your albums,
Yeah,
and all your
yeah.
music,
Yeah.
is to, for anybody who's like listening to this, whether they know you or not, even a fan of hip hop, whatever they do, what sort of lesson do you feel like anybody can learn from what we've talked about that they could apply to their own lives?
Be who you are. Most importantly, you don't have to fake it to make it. It ain't about money all the time. I find that people want to be around things, like I want to be around dope things. Most artists want to be around something that's dope and it's going to help them as well. But the relationship portion is the glue. I don't care who you are. You could be dope as fuck. If I don't feel you like that, I don't necessarily have to work with you. I'm good with that.
Right.
But when you're around energy that enhances what you're going to do, that's when it turns into something else. And I think that's why Thornton Melon came out like real dope, because it was just real. It wasn't no added preservatives. It wasn't no bullshit. It was just 100%, record at a time, making sure that all of this made sense.
Right.
And it was organic, man. Wasn't nothing. That's the beauty of it, man. I come from nothing. So to be able to create something without nothing, I don't have no $1 million budget, but I feel like I got $1 million budget.
Right, right.
So yeah, salute to everybody that was on the album, man. Look forward to, I got Thornton Melon vinyl that's gonna be coming out. It's gonna be original songs on there along with a couple of the songs that's on the digital, and there's gonna be some remixes on there. So, I got a Detropolis remix that, I don't think people are gonna be really prepared for. Pete Rock, another Pete Rock joint. And it's a part 2 off of the original joint, and it features my man Guilty Simpson, Fat Cat, Nolan and Ninja, and Book Brown.
Word.
And it's a super fucking record.
Right. Before we get out of here, we got to talk a little MMA. You're about to hit Hawaii with your boy King Mo.
Yeah, man. I'm going to Hawaii, leaving Wednesday, leaving out on the 12th. I'm going to be there to the 17th. We got a fight on the 15th against former Bellator light heavyweight champion Liam McGarry. He's a real cool dude, but, you know, unfortunately, Liam, he got to get it. He go get got. I like Liam, but Liam go get it.
Word. I always like to end my interviews with like the same question for everybody. And that question is, who's been somebody that's been a part of your life or career that I should interview for this podcast that would have some good stories or lessons to talk about?
Wow.
It could be one or many people.
Wow. You talking about from around here or just
anywhere?
Just anywhere?
Anywhere.
Bumpy.
Word.
Bumpy would he you know, sometimes, man, people paint a picture of people and that could be that person, but it's many sides of that person.
Right.
And I think sometimes we get caught up in what we read about people all the time, and you don't really know like who they are from the surface.
Right.
Bump is my brother. He's one of the most talented guys I've ever been around. He tells me when I'm fucking up all the time. And you know, he tells me, he's like, V, you never get mad at me for telling you how I feel. You accept it, and you know, and I'm like, well, what I'm supposed to do? Like, get mad at you? You know, we laugh about it, man, but you know, and I tell him, you know, when I feel like it's some crazy shit, man, you know, because that's what friends do.
Right.
I expect my friends to police me when I'm fucking up.
Right.
As I would do the exact same thing if I felt like they was fucking up. So, Bump is somebody. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Bump about that, man. Y'all need to link. That would be dope.
Right. Before we get out of here, where can people go online to follow you or get more information about your projects?
Okay. First and foremost, you can hit me on Twitter at Vstylez. That'd be / VSTYLEZ. You hit me on Instagram at / official Vstylez. Common spelling official Vstylez with the VSTYLEZ. On Instagram with the / VSTYLEZ. Not hard to find. You can find me pretty much anywhere. As far as like my projects are available in all digital stores, from iTunes to Google Play to Tidal to Spotify to Pandora. If you got it, you know, you'll be able to find my project, and I can guarantee you it's something that you can really get into.
Word up, man. Thanks again, my brother.
Yeah, indeed, man. Hey, man, it's this long overdue. I'm just happy to be on the mic again.
Hell yeah. So that was my interview with Vstylez. Links to where you can purchase Thornton Melon and to follow Vstylez online will be on the show notes for this episode at freshasthepodcast.com. Now, that's another show in the books. I'll be doing one more show later on this week for 2018. Then I'm going to take a little break for the rest of the year to get some things cooking in the pot for 2019. I want to thank you all for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.